Hello everybody, this is Nate Walker here. I'm going to be recording this sealed league, doing some standard practice for GP Pittsburgh coming up in a week or two. So I'll be recording a league here with this Bant Humans deck. I've been playing it a little bit, messing around with a few different sideboard slots, a couple different changes in the main deck. Today I'm trying this Nissa as a one-of in the main deck over the second Ojitize command. So most people have been playing one Ojitize command anyway. I had been trying a second one out because it seemed really good to be able to get back Thalia's Lieutenant. But I'm going to go back down to one and try Nissa instead for a little bit of a long game engine that is a hit off of Collected Company, which is really nice. Being able to have your Collected Company hits work well into the late game is sort of the whole point of this deck. Every card is just kind of powerful in its own right. And the deck can grind very well while also getting some aggressive draws that can beat your opponents down. So being able to play different roles depending on the matchup is sort of the strength of this deck and what pulls me towards wanting to play it. I had tried green-white tokens before this in a couple of leagues. Didn't have great results in that. I know the deck is very strong, I'm certainly not doubting that, but just didn't really fit my playstyle or wasn't playing it correctly. So the Bant Humans deck is a little bit more intuitive for me. I played Bant Company, not the Thalia's Lieutenant version, but more traditional Bant Company earlier in the standard season. So familiar with this type of deck, and it seems very strong. So I think this is what I'll be playing at the GP. Just trying to figure out how to tune it to figure out the last few sideboard slots, depending on what I think's working, what I think the metagame will be, etc. This will be my fourth league. I've done 3 before this, with, again, a couple of different changes. I had Avacyn's in here before as like a 2-of in the sideboard. No Avacyn's today. Avacyn was very good just as another flash threat against control decks. I played against a couple of blue-red Eldrazi decks where Avacyn was good because they have counter spells, so you want to be able to play something on their turn and then untap and play maybe a Collected Company on your own turn just to be able to fight the counter spells. Also, they had Kozilek's Return, and Chandra, so Avacyn being able to make your team indestructible to save your board from those type of sweeper effects was very strong as well. Excuse me. But today, no Avacyn's. Instead, I'm trying some Planar Outbursts on the sideboard, which I've had since the beginning, actually, instead of Tragic Arrogance. I just like to be able to wipe the board clean against the white human aggressive decks. I've found that I've been able to stabilize against sort of their average draws, but when they carve out with like a triple 1-drop draw, you can have a turn where you have too many tap lands. You don't really get off to a aggressive or a good enough start to meet them on the board as quickly as you'd like. And I'd rather have a Planar Outburst if I can get to 5 mana to just wipe the board clean and start over. Other decisions here. The Griffspoons I'm trying. I think this is my first league with the Griffspoon. They're very good in the mid-range mirror matches. Being able to go in the air is one of the best ways to win. And the fact that you can use it repeatedly on any threat means that it's going to be very hard to deal with. There aren't really ways to exile the enchantment, so your opponent just has to deal with the flyer every turn or be able to Dromoka's Command it away enough times to gain some tempo and beat you down. But it will win the long game eventually. Declaration and Stones, pretty standard. 3 Gideons, also pretty standard. The Negates and Den Protectors. I'm playing Sigarda over Linvala. I'm not sure if that's right. I know that in the mirror matches or against green-white, Linvala is pretty strong. The Sigarda I like because it's 1 mana cheaper and still just as resilient to Grasp of Darkness and Languish while coming down a turn earlier. And being able to pump out humans is very relevant when you have Thalia's Lieutenant in your deck, because every human pumps your team, or pumps the Thalia's Lieutenant by 1. So those can grow quite strong, and it blocks Avacyn. It is just a big flying threat on its own. Plus the ability is relevant. I mean, you have a lot of humans. This is a Bant humans deck, so rather than the regular Bant Company deck, which is sort of a mix of different creature types, most of these creatures are going to be humans. So the hexproof could be relevant, although I'm not sure if that's really a thing that I'm going to be taking advantage of, but you know, it's something to note. I guess that's it for deck tech type stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with the first match.